Birth control, individual choice, safe contraceptive methods, as well as abortions when necessary, is a fundamental prerequisite for the emancipation of women. Since the right of birth control is obviously advantageous to women of all classes and races, it would appear that even vastly dissimilar women's groups would have attempted to unite around this issue. In reality, however, the birth control movement has seldom succeeded in uniting women of different social backgrounds, and rarely have the movement's leaders popularized the genuine concerns of working class women. Moreover, arguments advanced by birth control advocates have sometimes been based on blatantly racist premises. The progressive potential of birth control remains indisputable, but in actuality, the historical record of this movement leaves much to be desired in the realm of challenges to racism and class exploitation. The failure of the abortion rights campaign to conduct a historical self evaluation led to a dangerously superficial appraisal of Black people's suspicious attitudes toward birth control in general. Granted, when some Black people unhesitantly equated birth control with genocide, it did appear to be an exaggerated, even paranoid reaction. Yet, white abortion rights activists missed a profound message. For underlying these cries of genocide were important clues about the history of the birth control movement. This movement, for example, has been known to advocate involuntary sterilization, a racist form of mass birth control. If ever women would enjoy the right to plan pregnancies, legal and easily accessible birth control measures and abortions would have to be complemented by an end to sterilization abuse. As for the abortion rights campaign itself, how could women of color fail to grasp its urgency? They were far more familiar than their white sisters with the murderously clumsy scalpels of inept abortionists seeking profit and illegality. In New York, for instance, during the several years preceding the decriminalization of abortions in that state, some 80% of the deaths caused by illegal abortions involved Black and Puerto Rican women. Immediately afterward, women of color received close to half of all the legal abortions. If the abortion rights campaign of the early 1970s needed to be reminded that women of color wanted desperately to escape the backroom quack abortionists, they should have also realized that these same women were not about to express pro abortion sentiments. They were in favor of abortion rights, which did not mean that they were proponents of abortion. When Black and Latina women resort to abortions in such large numbers, the stories they tell are not so much about their desire to be free of their pregnancy, but rather about the miserable social conditions which dissuade them from bringing new lives into the world. In an essay entitled Marriage, written during the 1850s, Sarah Grimke argued for a right on the part of women to decide when she shall become a mother, how often, and under what circumstances. Alluding to one physician's humorous observation, Grimke agreed that if wives and husbands alternatively gave birth to their children, no family would ever have more than three, the husband bearing one and the wife two. But, as she insists, the right to decide this matter has been almost wholly denied to women. It was not a coincidence that women's consciousness of their reproductive rights was born within the organized movement for women's political equality. Indeed, if women remained forever burdened by incessant childbirths and frequent miscarriages, they would hardly be able to exercise the political rights they might win. Moreover, women's new dreams of pursuing careers and other paths of self development outside marriage and motherhood could only be realized if they could limit and plan their pregnancies. In this sense, the slogan voluntary motherhood contained a new and genuinely progressive vision of womanhood. At the same time, however, this vision was rigidly bound to the lifestyle enjoyed by the middle classes and the bourgeoisie. The aspirations underlying the demand for voluntary motherhood did not reflect the conditions of working class women, engaged as they were in a far more fundamental fight for economic survival.